We lift up to you, Heavenly Father, today our elected leaders, our President, our Prime Minister, our Cabinet Ministers, our Assistant Ministers, our Leader of the Opposition, and all our members of Parliament. And we ask that you anoint them with wisdom and humility, and most importantly, the fear of you, God. Endow them with righteousness as their strength to boldly face their tasks with honesty and divine insight. We pray for our judiciary. We pray for those who serve our people in both the public and the private sectors, for those in the security and law enforcement agencies, our military, our police, and the corrections service. We ask for your protection and guidance for all who devote themselves for the common good, working for justice and peace here at home and around the world. Our Lord Jesus, help us heal our differences and unite us with a shared goal, dedication and commitment to achieve justice, peace, and prosperity in the years ahead for all our people, and especially those who are most vulnerable in our midst. In your mighty name, O Lord, we pray. Amen. Honorable members and distinguished guests, you may be seated. Secretary General.
Confirmation of minutes.
I now call on the Government Whip and the Honourable Alithea Mbanivalu to move her motion.
Honourable Speaker, I move that the minutes of the sitting of Parliament held on Thursday, 28th May 2026, as previously circulated, be taken as read and be confirmed.
Is there a seconder?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable Tumbuna, the Parliament will now vote on the motion. The question is that the minutes of the sitting of Parliament held on Thursday, 28th of May 2026, as previously circulated, be taken as read and be confirmed. Does any member oppose the motion? As no member opposes the motion is agreed to unanimously. Secretary General.
Communications from the Chair.
Honourable members, I welcome you all to today's sitting for the delivery of the National Budget Address. I also welcome the members of the Diplomatic Corps, High Commissioners, Ambassadors Extraordinaire, and plenipotentiaries, the representatives of friends of Fiji from around the Blue Pacific and beyond, heads of international and regional organizations, and the heads of corporate bodies and entities, and the rest of our distinguished guests. Thank you for honoring us with your presence. Your attendance today reflects the vibrant democratic spirit that underpins the sustainability of democracy in Parliament. And to our viewers watching live on television or online, we are grateful for your continued engagement and interest in the important work carried out in this House. Honourable members, today's National Budget Address is more than a presentation of numbers and forecasts. It is a government's roadmap for the year ahead, a declaration of intent, a set of priorities, and a blueprint for the development of our nation. The debates that will follow will be for your opportunities, honourable members, to cross-examine these plans and ensure they reflect the aspirations of the people you are here to serve. So thank you, honourable members and distinguished guests. We will proceed accordingly. Secretary General.
The Honourable Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development to move the first reading of the 2027 to 2026 to 2027 Appropriation Bill 2026.
I now invite the Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Esrom Immanuel, to move the first reading of the Appropriation Bill.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Orders 99 and 84, Clause 1, I move that 2026 to 2027 Appropriation Bill 2026, Bill number 13 of 2026, be now read a first time.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Honorable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable Banivalu, please hand the 4 copies of the bill to the Secretary General, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, please be advised that at its meeting on Tuesday, the 23rd of June 2026, the Business Committee unanimously agreed to exempt the Minister for Finance from the usual speaking time limits for today's budget address, as well as his right of reply on Wednesday, the 15th of July 2026. Honourable members and distinguished guests, I now call upon the Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Esrom Immanuel, to deliver the National Budget Address.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Assistant Ministers, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, invited guests, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Speaker, sir, I rise to present the 4th National Budget of the Coalition Government and my first budget as the Minister of Finance. I wish to acknowledge God Almighty for all of our lives and also for the presentation of this budget. I express my sincere gratitude to the Honourable Prime Minister for the trust and confidence he has placed on me to lead this critical portfolio. I also wish to thank the Cabinet Ministers, the Assistant Ministers, government members, and all the members of Parliament for their support. Special thanks to the former DPM, Professor Biman Prasad, for his tutelage in the last 3 years and his contribution. I also wish to thank everyone who provided their budget submissions and attended the budget consultations held around Fiji early this year. We have listened to your views, and after careful consideration and prioritization, formulated this budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the Finance Minister, with less than 8 months on the job, I have been entrusted with the responsibility to manage the nation's finances at a time when our fiscal position is under considerable pressure and the global environment is extremely volatile and uncertain. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget is not a populist budget that one would expect before an election, nor is it built on short-term promises or commitments that the country cannot afford. Hence, this is a responsible budget for sustainable future. It is realistic, disciplined, and focused on delivering real outcomes for our people. Every dollar has been carefully prioritized and directed towards areas that matter most. We will live within our means, make prudent choices, and invest in the foundations that will strengthen the economy, create jobs, and secure a more stable future for all Fijians. In a period of uncertainty, Mr. Speaker, sir, leadership requires honesty and responsibility. And today, I will lay the facts as they stand, as the Fijian people deserve an honest assessment of the challenges before us and decisive action and leadership to provide solutions to these problems. So we are aware of these problems, we are aware of the challenges, and here we're trying to answer or provide answers to the so what questions. So let me first provide a bit of context to the fiscal challenges facing us today and explain the need for urgent action that is required to address these fiscal imbalances. Mr. Speaker, sir, our fiscal dynamics have significantly changed over the last decade. Public debts have increased from around $4 billion in 2016 to almost $12 billion by the end of 2026. This is a threefold increase in 10 years, with a debt to GDP ratio doubling from around 43% to almost 85% of GDP. And during this 10-year period, Mr. Speaker, sir, the nation has also encountered unprecedented challenges. The country went through COVID-19 pandemic, a once-in-a-100-year crisis, TC Winston, a Category 5 cyclone which holds the record as the strongest and most intense tropical cyclone in the southern hemisphere, and an uncertain global environment marked with rising military conflicts and geopolitical confrontation, including the recent energy crisis that shook the whole world. During this period, Mr. Speaker, sir, our public spending has increased rapidly from $3 billion to $4.8 billion in the last budget. Operating expenditure grew from around $1.8 billion to around $4 billion, more than double, and accounting for over 80% of total public spending in the last 10 years. So this rapid expenditure growth was driven by the continuous pressure on public spending to meet the expectations for better government services, expectations for higher wages and salaries in the public sector, expansion in the size and role of government, catching up on infrastructure development, increased social sector support, and expansionary fiscal stance during the many extraordinary domestic and external economic shocks. During this period, Mr. Speaker, sir, our public sector grew significantly with now more than 42,000 personnel. This includes around 38,000 employees in the civil service, police force, military, and correction services, and another 4,000 employees in independent institutions and publicly funded statutory bodies like the Judiciary, Parliament, FICAC, Fiji Revenue and Customs Services, Water Authority of Fiji, Fiji Roads Authority, Tourism Fiji, amongst others. And overall, this is an increase of over 10,000 employees in the public sector during this period, which is now costing the government over $2.3 billion per year in wages and salaries, and cost of support services required to operate the public sector. And this is almost 50% of the total budget. Mr. Speaker, of these $2.3 billion, over $1.5 billion per year is required just to cater for the wages and salaries of the 42,000 employees. And this is equivalent to almost $6 million per day, almost $60 million per fortnight based on a 5-day working week. To sustain this workforce, a further $800 million per year is required for the provision of office space, vehicles, fuel costs, travel expenditure, electricity, telecommunications, computers, stationery, conferences, training, security costs, repair and maintenance, and other support services. This is a cost of around $3 million per day. So basically now we need $9 million per day just to operate the public service. Mr. Speaker, sir, during this 10-year period, our social sector spending has also increased rapidly by over to over $1 billion. This includes significant spending increases towards free education, transport assistance, tertiary scholarships, social welfare to support over 130,000 Fijians, social wages like free water and subsidized electricity, back-to-school payment, fund for higher education institutions, and the provision of free medical care. If we include the wages and salaries paid to civil servants in the social sector, the total social sector budget is almost 2 billion, accounting for almost 42% of total spending. Over these 10 years, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have also increased spending to support sector that cannot survive without taxpayer funding. And this includes around 100 million spent annually in the sugar industry for cane support, sugar price support, fertilizer, and farm input subsidies, the planting grant and working capital support to the Fiji Sugar Corporation. This had to be done to protect our sugarcane farmers and our vulnerable rural communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have also over 320 million debt guarantees exposure with FSC, which may ultimately fall on the taxpayers of this country. And this is on top of the 200 million debt write-off that was recently provided to FSC. And risk from overall guaranteed debt, which is around 1.1 billion, have increased and has to be carefully managed. Mr. Speaker, sir, government over the years has also taken up the responsibility to fund municipal council projects which were previously largely funded by the councils from rate collections. As such, taxpayers' funds had to be diverted for the construction and upgrade of municipal markets, roads and drainage infrastructures within the town boundaries, sporting facilities, rubbish collection, and even the payment of salaries for some of the town councils, executives. Mr. Speaker, sir, we also inherited a large number of unpaid debts, including close to 200 million outstanding film tax rebate, outstanding dues to ESP, various incomplete projects like Lautoka Swimming Pool, Bagagovin Park Stadium, FNU campus in Lambasa, and Ratuskuna Park, including ongoing funding commitment like Wallis. Hence, with the rapid growth in our debt level, the interest cost to service our debt has doubled to almost 600 million per year. And this is on top of around 400 to 600 million required to refinance our principal debt repayment as they fall due. All these factors have contributed to the significant increase in overall public expenditure, Mr. Speaker, sir. While revenue also grew during this period from 2.8 billion to almost 4 billion, the pace of expenditure growth had been much faster. What this meant was that government had to continuously rely on increased borrowings to meet the growing expenditure commitments. In fact, we are now confronted with a situation where the gap between our public expenditure and state revenue is growing wider. The average fiscal deficit increased from around 2% in the previous decade to around 6% in the last 10 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, given that most of our spending increase has been largely operating in nature, reaching almost 4 billion or over 80% of our total spending, we have deprived the nation of the much needed capital expenditure that was required to build our roads, replace our bridges, fix our hospitals and medical facilities, expand our water and wastewater infrastructure, get our drainage sorted, and provide a conducive environment for our private sector to take the lead in our growth and development. So these fiscal imbalances were made worse with the recent global fuel crisis and the uncertainty presented by the volatile external environment. Our revenues plummeted further, making the fiscal situation even more challenging. Mr. Speaker, sir, this chronic challenge of debt fuel expenditure growth at the current rate cannot be sustained. As a nation, we must come together to resolve this. We cannot play the blame game or rant about why we are in this situation. We have to be responsible and solution-oriented. I plead that we don't politicize this issue and call upon everyone to be part of the solution. We need the support and understanding of each and every Fijian. We cannot fall for short-term political gains and populist policies. We need to learn to live within our means. We need to learn to do more with less. And we need to ensure that we deliver the best long-term outcomes for our people. Mr. Speaker, sir, and that is the foundation of our 2026-2027 budget with the theme, a responsible budget for sustainable future. Firstly, we are immediately reining in our public expenditure, especially operating spending. The 2026-2027 budget maintains our public expenditure level to almost similar levels as in the current financial year. We are doing this so while still accommodating for more than 200 million in new and additional expenditures for the general election, referendum, national census, commencement of 4 major bridge replacement projects, investment to double the capacity of the Kinoya wastewater plant, investment in non-revenue water reduction, establishment of a new cancer treatment facility, major investment to upgrade our primary healthcare facilities, adding additional bed capacity at CWM, catering for the increased debt servicing cost, amongst other new expenditure commitments, which I will highlight later. What this means, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that we had to cut back on our other expenses to cater for this. Operational expenditure across government has been reduced by 10%. Ministries, departments, and agencies have been directed to reduce spending on travel, workshop, conferences, communication, maintenance, administration, and the purchase of goods and services. Grants provided to state entities, independent bodies, commissions, and other recipient agencies have also been reduced by 10%. Funding for vacant positions across government has been reduced by 50%. Recruitment will continue only for critical frontline positions and specialized roles necessary to maintain essential service delivery. A holistic review of the civil servant will be undertaken, and staff from overstaffed agencies will be redeployed to ministries that need additional manpower with the required training and transition management. Mr. Speaker, sir, government has also continued the broader cost containment measures announced earlier this year, including tighter controls on overseas and domestic travel, vehicle usage, fuel consumption, and other operational spending. A 20% reduction in the salaries of all ministers and members of parliament will also continue in the financial year, and if you agree, will continue for the next 1 or 2 years. Following these cost control measures and after accommodating additional expenses of over 200 million, we are still maintaining overall expenditures at around 4.87 billion in the 2026-2027 budget, similar to our current year's budget. So this is just a marginal increase of less than 1%, which means that overall real expenditure adjusted for inflation is now put on a declining path. This downward trajectory is important to correct our fiscal imbalance. We need to commit to and maintain the strategy of expenditure restraint over the medium term and work out policy measures to ensure that operating expenditures doesn't increase from the current 3.99 billion in the 2026-2027 budget. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, if possible, we need to reduce our operating expenditures in nominal terms in the years ahead. However, this would require national consensus and political bipartisanship. In any major reduction in overall spending will require tough decision on the size of the civil service and the overall public sector. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are focusing on increasing our spending on capital expenditure. We have commenced with 4 major capital projects in the health sector, road infrastructure, water and wastewater, and flood alleviation with a total value of over 2 billion to be implemented in the next 4 to 5 years. The financing arrangements for 1.5 billion from these 2 billion capital projects have been secured and signed by the government with our development partners. The other 500 million financing package for the flood alleviation project is in advanced stages. Apart from this, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have also lined up major public infrastructure projects in the area of renewable energy transition, port infrastructure development, and airport expansion. Preparatory works are in advanced stages with a number of development partners already committing significant amount of financing and technical support. The total value of these projects will be over 5 billion, and these projects will be funded through our state-owned entities with government support and guarantees where required. Mr. Speaker, sir, capital spending is critical to improve our infrastructure, build our assets, and national productivity. It will also raise our economic growth. However, increasing investment in capital projects is not just about increasing the capital budget. It requires proper planning and preparation. It requires getting the right capacity, people, and contractors to get the projects implemented. It is about ensuring that the private sector is ready to take on the increased number of capital projects. And it requires the support of our multilateral financiers like the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility for the Pacific to undertake proper due diligence, feasibility and planning before any loan funding is provided for such capital projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this budget we have started this process. A total capital budget for 876 million has been allocated in the 2026-2027 budget, including 110 million for the project I have highlighted previously. Capital spending will significantly increase as we progress from design and tender stage to actual implementation of the projects. With this, Mr. Speaker, sir, we target to double our capital spending in the short to medium term, bring the OPEX to CAPEX mix to 70-30 ratio. I will provide more details on these capital projects later during my address. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to protect and grow our revenues. Unfortunately, following the impact of the global recent fuel crisis, our tax revenues is projected to decline to 3.3 billion, almost 200 million lower than earlier anticipated. Therefore, overall revenue, which includes tax and non-tax revenues, is estimated at around 3.82 billion in the 2026-2027 budget. With a total revenue of 3.82 billion and total expenditure of around 4.87 billion, the fiscal deficit is set at 1 billion or 7% of GDP for 2026-2027 budget. Subsequently, public debt is projected to increase to around 12.6 billion by the end of July 2027, equivalent to around 84.8% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, sir, for this budget, we have kept the fiscal deficit at 10% of GDP as a counter-cyclical response to the global fuel crisis. This was required to sustain our expenditure at current levels, with revenue levels projected to be 200 million lower, and yet accommodating additional new expenses of around 200 million. If revenues had not declined due to the crisis, together with the economic slowdown, our deficit would have been below 5%, and debt would have been much lower at around 83% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, sir, while the 7% deficit is justified for this financial year, we need to reduce our deficit level to around 3% moving forward. With a 3% deficit, our debt to GDP ratio will decline much faster, and government will be able to finance its deficit without putting pressure on domestic market or getting overly reliant on external debt. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are basically only two options to reduce our deficit levels. Either we cut back on our expenditure level or increase the level of revenue. But we cannot and should not try to increase our revenues by merely increasing taxes. That is not an option, as it will worsen the cost of living challenges, further add to the cost of doing business, and slow down the economy further with negative consequences for all. What we need to do is to grow the economy, which will subsequently increase the tax revenues. To achieve this, we have to keep our tax regime stable, with focus placed on supporting the private sector to take the lead. We need to ensure that we create an enabling environment to support the private sector, undertake investments for business expansions and new investments. We need urgent action to ensure that we provide confidence and the prerequisite for our private sector to thrive, ensuring that processes are streamlined and bureaucratic red tapes eliminated. We need to deal with the skills gap in the country. We need to address our productivity and competitiveness challenges. We need to deal with drugs and HIV crisis. We will have to create new opportunities and nurture and grow new businesses to support economic diversification. Mr. Speaker, sir, our major institutional investors like the Fiji National Provident Fund, Fijian Holdings, BSP Life, Unit Trust, provincial councils and other investors who have the capital will have to take the lead. Major state entities like Energy Fiji Limited, Fiji Airports Limited, Fiji Ports Corporation Limited, Fiji Roads Authority and Water Authority of Fiji will have to ensure that the supporting infrastructure is provided to support the expansion and growth. Public sector investment will have to complement this strategy with investments in road, bridges, jetties, water and wastewater infrastructure, health facilities, housing, drainage, and better waste management. Apart from increased funding, we need to urgently revamp public sector capacity to deliver on major capital projects and ensure timely implementation and value for money. Mr. Speaker, sir, without a private sector-led growth, Fiji cannot achieve its National Development Plan growth target of around 5% per year. Post-pandemic, we have had 4 consecutive years of growth, which is positive. But we have not been able to reach the growth target of 5%. The global fuel crisis worsened the situation and put the economy under more pressure. Subsequently, growth for 2026 has been revised down to 1.5%, lower than the 3% earlier anticipated. Growth is expected to average around 3% in the years ahead. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I've said earlier, we have to reverse this trend. Not everything is doom and gloom. The progress on the peace deal between the United States and Iran is a positive development. With the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, although with some challenges and subsequent reduction of fuel prices to below US $80 per barrel is a welcome relief. FCCC will soon announce major reductions in domestic fuel prices for July and following months, which should ease our inflationary pressures and cost of business as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, we already have a strong pipeline of private sector projects with 254 active investment projects valued at approximately 8.9 billion across key sectors of the economy. Of these, 116 projects are under construction, 87 are on the pre-development stage, and 81 are at the conceptual stage. The investment portfolio includes several landmark developments that continue to define the scale and quality of Fiji's investment landscape. Key projects include the Carpenters Fiji, introducing the Hilton Garden in Suva, Sofitel Fiji Resort and Spa, Vatutale, the Jewel in Nandi, the Crown Plaza Wailolo Hotel, the Radisson Mirage Resort in Naisoso, Wananabu Resort in Rakiraki, Coral Beach Resort and Spa, and Bualiku Hotel in Lambasa, all reinforcing strong confidence in Fiji's tourism and hospitality sector. In addition, some of the major projects completed and currently operating include FHL Towers in Suva, Ramanda and Koa in Labasa, the Naval Base in Lami, Uvali Plaza in Nandi, Orion Distribution Center in Lotoka, and Sun Insurance Center in Nandi. Other major developments include the Staghorn Submarine Cable Project in Natandola to support digital infrastructure growth. And also we have the Linda's Business Park in Asinu as a significant mixed-use commercial hub. Also the six-star resort in Nasawa by the Kirsana Group and Emerald Bay in Andawa undertaking a mixed integrated real estate, housing, and tourism development. Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet has established a high-powered task force to fast-track investment projects. The task force will play a facilitative role by bringing together investors and relevant approval agencies to identify and resolve bottlenecks in a timely manner. However, this initiative will not bypass any laws, regulations, or requirements. Rather, it will promote a more coordinated, solution-oriented, and efficient decision-making process to support investment and economic growth. In addition, Investment Fiji and the Ministry of Immigration have agreed to work together to fast-track the issuance of investor permits. Investment Fiji will provide a pre-engagement letter to the Ministry of Immigration containing information required to process investment permit specification. Mr. Speaker, sir, our macroeconomic fundamentals remain strong. The financial sector is well capitalized and secure. The low interest rate environment supported by accommodative monetary policy provides a conducive environment for investment. Our exchange rates remain stable with a strong foreign reserve positions. Remittances have continuously performed well, supporting domestic demand and livelihoods. After a record year in 2025, the tourism industry continues to grow, although there are some challenges now. Mr. Speaker, sir, to raise our growth, we have to protect our tourism industry, which contributes around 40% towards our economy. We have to ensure that the industry remains competitive. We have to expand the tourism infrastructure, increase our airport capacity, invest in more hotel room inventory, develop more tourism products, and ensure Fiji is safe and secure for our visitors. Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to support Fiji Airways, our national airline, which brings most of our tourists and plays a critical role in positioning Fiji as the aviation hub of the South Pacific. Recently, the airline has been under some financial pressure following the substantial price increase in aviation turbine fuel, and at a time when the airline was still recovering from the massive financial losses registered during the pandemic. Government is the major shareholder, and given the strategic importance of Fiji Airways, will support the airline with a planned 200 million guarantee that will be brought to Parliament soon. In this budget, we are extending the loss carried forward provision for the airline from the standard 8 years to 15 years, and waiving fees and charges amounting to around 10 million for the next 12 months. We are also working with other key stakeholders, including Fiji Airports, Air Terminal Services, Civil Aviation Authority of Fiji, Fiji National Provident Fund, and the Fiji Development Bank to help ease the financial pressure on the airline. Mr. Speaker, sir, the tourism industry has also come on board to support the airline. and has broadly supported a temporary 5% tourism service tax on all hotels and tour and cruise operators with an annual turnover of 2 million or more for the next 12 months. The revenue generated from this 5% tourism tax will be ring-fenced and fully directed to Fiji Airways. The industry has broadly agreed that the burden of the tax will be largely absorbed by the hoteliers and tour and cruise operators and not passed on. The 5% tax will be effective from 1 September 2026 and is expected to generate around 70 million for the airline. Mr. Speaker, as earlier highlighted, we are also working with our investor community to fast-track and support investment in adding additional hotel room capacity. Major hotel investment will add around 5,500 rooms, with these hotel projects valued at over 3 billion. Of these 5,500 rooms, around 1,400 are in construction stage and will be completed in 1 to 3 years. 2,500 rooms, those in pre-development stages, and around 1,600 rooms in conceptual stages will be completed in over 3 years. Additional room capacity will set the foundation to grow the tourism industry further. Mr. Speaker, Sir, Fiji Airports is also undertaking a transformational aviation infrastructure program that will strengthen Fiji's position as the gateway to the Pacific. Over the next 5 years, investment valued at more than 700 million will support airport modernization, regional airport upgrades, digital technologies, renewable energy infrastructure, and aviation safety systems. Mr. Speaker, sir, implementation has also commenced on the 440 million 10-year Vanuatu Tourism Development Program, known locally as the Nabualiku Project. This flagship initiative, supported by the World Bank, represents one of the most significant investments ever undertaken to expand the tourism industry in the Northern Division. The first phase of the program will finance strategic investments in roads, airports, water supply, sanitation, energy, and waste management infrastructure across Vanuatu and Taveuni. A sum of 20 million has been provided in this budget for implementation activities next year. Government will also continue advancing the Nandi River flood alleviation project. This project, estimated to cost approximately 400 million, is being supported by the Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility for the Pacific, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and the Asian Development Bank. This project will provide long-term flood protection for Nandi Town and the lower floodplain, which is critical to protect the tourism industry and our people in Nandi. A sum of 3 million is allocated in this budget for the initial preparatory work. Mr. Speaker, sir, secondly, energy security and access to electricity is a major prerequisite for growth and development. The current fuel crisis has made the need for renewable energy transition even more urgent. Without reliable and affordable electricity, we cannot have sustained growth and economic expansion. To support Fiji's national renewable energy and energy security objective, EFL is progressing an investment program of approximately $2 billion on one of the largest infrastructure investments in our nation's history. These programs include 2 new hydropower schemes providing 50 megawatts of renewable baseload power, approximately 165 megawatts of solar generation with battery storage and major grid upgrades, while investing in transmission redundancy and also the replacement of aging infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, sir, these investments will support Fiji's target of increasing renewable energy to 60% and ultimately 90% by 2035, while reducing dependence on imported fuel and strengthening long-term energy security. Mr. Speaker, sir, recognizing the national importance of these investments, Government is supporting EFL in accessing affordable financing and climate investment capital to help lower long-term electricity costs for our consumers. We are working with ADB, World Bank, EIB and other financiers for funding support, with government providing the required loan guarantee and the necessary investment approvals. A lot of preparatory works has been undertaken, and I thank our key development partners who have come on board to support these major investments with planned financing and technical support. Actual implementation is expected to start from 2027, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, thirdly, to lift our growth to over 5%, we need to invest in a modern port facility that not only serves Fiji's trade and logistic requirements, but serve as a regional transshipment facility given our hub status in the Pacific. Our current port is reaching its capacity, and for future economic expansion and growth, we need to expand our port capacity. We need to improve its operational efficiency, enhance its competitiveness, and capitalize on unrealized transshipment opportunities in the region. Government is embarking on a major transformational port expansion and redevelopment project to develop the Suva Port into a modern port facility. The Millennium Challenge Corporation, a US-funded agency, has been working with government to provide a major grant funding support towards this transformational initiative. Other financing partners, including the Government of Australia and the Australian Infrastructure Investment Financing Facility for the Pacific, and the other multilateral institutions, stand ready to complement the funding requirements. The projects will also modernize private sector financing, including the participation of FNPF and other local institutional investors. The full project will be over 1.5 billion and will be implemented over a 5-year period. Plans are also underway for further investment and expansions at the Lautoka Port, including investment in shipbuilding and maintenance to serve Fiji and the region. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the 2026 to the 2027 budget, Government is providing 821 million to the Ministry of Public Works, Meteorological Services and Transport. The Fiji Road Authority is provided a funding of around 370 million. And this includes 118 million for road maintenance and 7 million for road renewals, replacement and resealing, 35 million for bridge renewals and crossing replacements, and 26 million for new sealing and upgrading of community and rural roads. To ease traffic congestion experienced by commuters traveling in major urban centers, the government is providing the FRA with a sum of 20 million in the next financial year. Of these, 15 million is budgeted for the widening of the Ratu Dawi Road, construction of the Extension Street bypass to connect with Brown Street, and also upgrades to Ratu Sukuna Road. A sum of 4.5 million is allocated to conduct feasibility and design for road widening along Delen Besi to Vesari. Also, from Vekomba to Langere, the Princess Road, and Nasoso to Nabutu in the Nandi-Lautoka corridor. Government recognizes this investment as a priority to improve road travel. In the Northern Division, I'm glad to update that the detailed design for the temporary and permanent bridge replacement is nearing completion for the Lambasa Bypass project. For the next financial year, FRA will continue its preparatory work and carry out its procurement process. A sum of 3.2 million is provided for the maintenance of our jetties in Ellington, Sausabu, Tabeuni and Rambi, and to fund preparatory works to enable the construction of the Wunikura jetty in the Konrabe. In the new financial year, an inter-island jetty feasibility study is planned to identify new jetty sites aimed at increasing inter-island transportation. Government, with the support of the ADB, has also finalized detailed designs to overhaul the jetties in Nambawalu, Natovi, and Sabsabu. Proper investment in our jetty infrastructure is essential to improve connectivity across our islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also pleased to announce that civil works are expected to commence in the new financial year, the replacement of 4 critical bridges, namely the Lami Bridge at Sumabo, Mendraukutu Bridge near the Lami Cement Factory, the Sambeto Bridge, VCC Bridge, and VCC Bridge linking Nandi and Lotoka. A total of 41.5 million is budgeted for this project in the new financial year. The full project cost is estimated around 400 million, and funding has already been secured through the ADB and the World Bank. Mr. Speaker, sir, these bridges are critical. We are ensuring that these new bridges are future-proofed and resilient. The new designs include wider spans, increased load capacity, and most importantly, enhanced climate resilience. Works are also in progress to finalize detailed designs of 6 other critical bridges in the next financial year. This includes the planned replacement of the Sawani Bridge in Naitasiri, Motomoto, Lomo, and Lambasa bridges earmarked in the next phase. A total of 14.9 million is budgeted for the construction of new bus shelters along the Queens and Kings Road, as well as footpath and frontage ceiling to improve safe accessibility to the schools and villages. Mr. Speaker, sir, rural connectivity continues to remain a key priority for this government. We are working with the government of China to upgrade approximately 82 kilometers of rural roads and the construction of 22 bridges with a focus on strategic corridors such as the Nambawalu, Wailebu West Coast, and the Tewa West roads. Works are expected to commence during the later part of the year. Apart from this, government is also working with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank to undertake a major capital investment to strengthen the climate resilience of rural roads and water infrastructures. Government has secured approximately 6.4 billion from AIIB to facilitate detailed feasibility studies on identified sites and is working on a US $100 million rural road and water infrastructure financing package. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is also providing around 17 million to the various government within the Ministry of Public Works to implement targeted capital investments to improve rural road access, water supply, and electricity service, and to support the delivery of public services in the rural and outer islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, we inherited a critical crisis in the water sector with an aging water infrastructure where 50% of the water is lost through leakage. While the RIA project has helped add additional capacity, we need to focus on leak reduction and further additional capacity in the future. Our wastewater sector is facing even greater challenges with urgent investment requirements. In this budget, the Water Authority is provided with an increased funding of 291 million to upgrade and expand water and wastewater infrastructures around the country, including the upgrading of water sources, treatment plants, reticulation, distribution, and non-revenue water reduction. Government is providing the Water Authority of Fiji with 81.4 million to maintain ongoing efforts to upgrade and expand our water infrastructure. Major projects include 7 million budgeted for civil works and installation of a 20 megaliter package plant at the Tamavua water treatment plant. And the project is targeted for completion in June 2027 and is expected to benefit 150,000 people living along the Suva to Tongalevu corridor. A sum of 10 million is allocated for the installation of 11.73 kilometers of new water mains, construction of a state-of-the-art pump station, and 2 5-megaliter reservoirs. The project is targeted for completion in June 2027 and will provide reliable water supply for 14,000 people residing in Sawani, Dolisuva, and Kalsaru. To meet future demand for safe, reliable water supply in the greater Suva area, 1.2 million is allocated for pipeline realignment from Savura pump station to Tamavua water treatment plant. And a further 2 million is budgeted for the preparatory work for the expansion of the Viria water treatment plant from 40 megaliters to 80 megaliters as part of phase 2 investments. These investments in the future will benefit 244,000 people living in the Suva-Nosori corridor. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Water Authority of Fiji has begun work on the development of a new water treatment plant in Navua, as well as a new water supply scheme in the Wendo area, which will cover an area from Namboro to Nambukavesi, with the potential to extend towards Tongalevu and Melimeli in Navua, benefiting a population of around 11,000. Furthermore, Water Authority of Fiji is looking into extending water supply from Veinunga to Kasagu in Taileu. Civil contractors are expected to be mobilized in the new financial year for the construction of the water main, pump station, and a 3 megaliter storage tank in Devetelevu, Tailevu. In the Western Division, the upgrading of water infrastructure is in progress at the Dekati Feeder Road, Punda, and Warimbatia. These upgrades will benefit 80,000 people living within and along Dekati Feeder Road, Punda, Warimbatia, Nandi Airport, Nandi Beg Road, and Sambeto Road. We are also investing in water extensions to previously unserved communities, such as those in the Korobuto area in Nandi and the Coral Coast region in the Botua area in Singatoka. Furthermore, water source improvement works have also been allocated to improve water supply services, with proposed work for the Ngalau and the CV intakes in Ra and Tabua, which will benefit 32,000 people. There will also be rehabilitation of the Renro and Vardiva pump station in Ba to increase water intake, benefiting 55,000 people. In the Northern Division, we are upgrading the Benau water treatment plant, undertaking water mains upgrade to Rara and Volanau in Labasa, construction of a new storage reservoir at Ravi Ravi, and carrying out improvement works for Nine River in Sausavu. In addition, the proposed Wainivasa water source in Tabiuni is in progress. Mr. Speaker, sir, over 16 million is provided to Water Authority to upgrade wastewater infrastructure as well. Our priority in the new financial year includes upgrading container well and wastewater infrastructure, the Pacific Harbour wastewater treatment package plant, and supporting localized wastewater treatment plants, pump station, and distribution systems. In response to these pressing challenges in the water and wastewater sector, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are partnering with ADB on a 300 million Healthy Oceans and Water Security Improvement Project over a 4-year period. This investment aims to double the capacity of the Kinoya wastewater treatment facility to 36,000 cubic meters per day, reduce non-revenue water leakage from 50% to 20%, and improve coastal health and water security. Around 28 million is budgeted in this financial year for this project. Mr. Speaker, sir, as part of this project, Water Authority will establish a regional water academy to build the technical and vocational skills required to manage water supply and the wastewater operations. This initiative is funded by a 10 million grant from ADB. To maintain and increase rural water supply across Fiji, the Water Authority is provided a funding of 10.5 million. And Mr. Speaker, sir, Water Authority is also in the progress of formulating an infrastructure development charges framework to support economic development by catering for the growing demand for water and wastewater services for non-residential developments through a more sustainable and equitable cost-sharing mechanism. Mr. Speaker, sir, an allocation of 38.8 million is provided to the Land Transport Authority to improve transport services delivery and enhance road safety across the country. This funding will cater for development of an integrated IT system, revamp e-services platform, and complete the Lambasa restoration project. Mr. Speaker, sir, the upgraded Nonda LTA platform will enable customers to conveniently access key services online, including renewals of driver's license and payments, thereby significantly reducing the need for in-person visits. Government will provide an exemption on outstanding wheel tax and road user levy for vehicles that have been off-road for a period of time or are in unworthy conditions and are presented to LTA for fitness and renewal. The amnesty is intended to assist vehicle owners who have accumulated arrears in wheel tax and road user levy payments over time. Mr. Speaker, sir, an allocation of 9.3 million has been provided to MSAF, or Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji, and 1 million is provided for the construction of a lighthouse on Andua Island, Makuluva Islet, Taveuni Buna Point, and Kandabu, Cape Washington. These critical investments will significantly improve navigational safety for both local and international vessels operating within Fiji waters. Mr. Speaker, sir, investment in our health sector has lagged behind due to years of neglect and underinvestments. In the 2026-2027 budget, a total funding of 647 million is provided to the health sector. Of these, 477 million is provided to the Ministry of Health to fund the salaries of doctors, nurses, and allied health professionals, procurement of medicines and medical supplies, and purchase of medical equipment. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is embarking on a major 500 million health project, namely Pacific Healthy Island Transformation Project, known as FIT, with the support of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and OPEC Fund. This is a major step towards a significant transformation in Fiji's health system. Over the next 12 to 18 months, we will be focused on some significant deliverables. Firstly, we will establish Fiji's first radiotherapy and cancer treatment center at CWM Hospital. Construction will begin in the year ahead with completion over the following years. The facility will house linear accelerator technology and chemotherapy capacity to treat up to 60 patients daily. This will reduce reliance on overseas referrals and provide life-saving opportunity for our people. Second, we will expand acute care capacity at CWM Hospital, adding 56 new beds for adults and children. This will address the persistent congestion and connect maternity services to operating theatres, eliminating over time the current reliance on container walkways. Third, Mr. Speaker, sir, we will upgrade and rebuild primary health care facilities nationwide. Within the next year, 17 priorities facilities across urban, rural, and maritime areas, including Valelevu, Nuffield, Balibuto, Kambara, Tukavesi, Lami, and Osori will move through design, procurement, and early works with selected sites already beginning upgrades. And finally, through engagement with UNICEF, the government will focus on digital connectivity of at least 70 primary healthcare facilities enabling real-time data, continuity of care, and improved service efficiency. We will also roll out online training programs to strengthen frontline health worker capacity and establish a national AI risk mitigation framework. Mr. Speaker, sir, the full FIT project will take around 4 years, and a sum of 41 million is provided in this 2026-2027 budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Government of Australia is supporting the master planning for the new National Tertiary Hospital in Wellington. Keeping the CWM hospital operational and safe remains a critical priority until the new tertiary hospital is ready. Australia has also committed 10 million Australian dollars for urgent priority infrastructure upgrades at the current CWM hospital. The first tranche of works already commenced includes roofing and drainage remediation across key hospital buildings, installation of a new 200,000 litre potable water storage system with filtration, UV treatment and pumping, remediation of maternity sewer infrastructure, and refurbishment of the acute patient ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, government has also been working closely with Healthcare Fiji Limited, a subsidiary of Fiji National Provident Fund, and Aspen Medical to iron the PPP contractual arrangements with the operation of the Lautoka and Bar Hospital. With the help of IFC, we are renegotiating the agreement to ensure it is cost-effective and delivers the best service for our people. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, sir, significant progress has been made with investment in the state-of-the-art cardiac facility in Lautoka, together with improvements in hospital infrastructure, modern equipment, and improved delivery of overall services. We now also have our first JCI accredited hospital in Ba. Since 2022, HCF has done more than 300 open heart surgeries and over 1,000 advanced cardiac procedures. New services such as the CAT lab, MRI, interventional radiology, and enhanced oncology services have greatly expanded access to advanced health care for Fijians. In the 2026-2027 budget, 120 million is provided for the ongoing operations and maintenance costs to Healthcare Fiji for the Lautoka and Ba hospitals. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Government of India is also in advanced stages for the commencement of the construction of a 100-bed super specialty hospital in Asinu. Land acquisition is now complete, while detailed design and tender process is currently underway. Construction is expected to start early next year. We have been encouraging and providing the necessary support through tax incentives and other support to entice the private sector to invest in hospital and tertiary healthcare. The outcome has been positive, Mr. Speaker, sir. We now have a number of private sector players: Pacific Specialist Healthcare, Oceania Hospitals, Miot Pacific Hospital, Nasesia Private Hospital, and Sai Prema Hospital delivering advanced medical care services. Mr. Speaker, sir, the HIV issue has become a major existential threat to our people, and an urgent and decisive response is required to fight this crisis, Mr. Speaker, sir. With the support of the Government of Australia, New Zealand, and other development partners, government has put together a multi-pronged response strategy focused on fighting drugs, raising national awareness, procuring HIV medicine, investing in identification and treatment, investing in required healthcare skills, and overall preventative measures. A sum of around 12 million is allocated for the purpose. Mr. Speaker, sir, investment in education is investing in the future of our nation. Over the years, we have invested heavily on improving access to education with initiatives like free education funding, transport assistance, free textbooks, and scholarship funding. Focus will now be on improving the quality of education, improving the employability of our graduates, meeting the skills need of our country, teacher welfare and retention, holistic education development that focuses on character building and achieving value for money for the investments in the education sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, the education sector is provided a budget of 883 million, the largest funding accounting for 18% of the budget. The Ministry of Education is allocated 708.3 million. This includes 434 million for the salaries and wages of over 13,000 teachers. Around 61 million is provided for the free education grant, 54 million for transport assistance, and 40 million for back-to-school assistance. Apart from this, 74.5 million is provided for operating grants to the higher education institutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the operating grants to these institutions have been allocated based on the recommendations of the Fiji Higher Education Commission. And no capital grant is provided to any higher education institution for the current year, and we encourage these institutions to explore self-funding for their capital project, especially for this financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, the coalition government wrote off over 650 million in tertiary student debt for over 53,000 students and replaced it with a full scholarship with cut-off marks to ensure increased completion rate and quality of graduates. Bonding arrangements were introduced to ensure graduates work in the country and contribute in return for taxpayer-funded tertiary education. To fund these scholarships, Mr. Speaker, sir, 160 million is provided in this budget, which will cater for 23,000 students, both existing and new students. To better align scholarships with national priorities, several scholarship schemes will be modernized and rebranded, while scholarship places for high-demand local programs such as nursing, medicine, and technical skills will continue to be expanded. Greater support will also be provided to students from rural, remote, and maritime communities, students with disabilities, and those pursuing technical and vocational qualifications in national priority areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is also strengthening accountability within the scholarship program. Scholarship recipients will be expected to maintain satisfactory academic performance, while new measures will improve completion rates, strengthen financial accountability, and ensure that public investment delivers high-skilled graduates who can contribute meaningfully to Fiji's development. To better respond to changing labor market demands, government will introduce a new postgraduate diploma scholarship scheme to support professional upskilling in priority sectors while continuing support for in-service public sector scholarships, apprenticeship programs, and technical skills training. This initiative will help address critical skill shortages, improve productivity, and strengthen Fiji's long-term economic resilience. Mr. Speaker, sir, access to housing remains a challenge, especially in our major urban centers. Government is working through the Housing Authority and Public Rental Board to expand the supply of residential lots and housing units for the low and middle income owners. Housing Authority is working towards providing more than 2,900 residential lots and around 1,800 completed houses for sale in Napani, Panibuku, Tawilevu, Tabakumbu, Tabua, Wairambetia, Tavirua, Wanganra, Waila, and Vekomba. We are also working with PRB to invest in more low-cost housing projects. Apart from Housing Authority and PRB, government is also collaborating with other key partners like Habitat for Humanity, HUT, Koreipita, and other private sector partners to deliver affordable housing solutions. And also we encourage our institutional investors like FNPF and Fijian Holdings, BSP, to help increase the availability of affordable residential lot and housing in Fiji. Other private sector investors should also come on board. The tax incentive available for development of subdivision has been extended and provides developer profit exemptions and custom duty concessions for land developers undertaking investments in residential subdivisions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the low interest rate environment remains conducive for housing finance, with home loans provided at just below 4% from the commercial banks. We also allowed FDB to introduce housing loans on a smaller scale. A sum of 3 million is allocated to support first-home buyers in this budget. Government has approved a revised structure for the first home ownership assistance program to enhance housing affordability for low and middle income households. Under Category 1, households earning $30,000 or less, including those displaced from informal settlements such as Veindongo, Nambua Muslim League, and Kilkali, will be eligible for grants of up to $40,000 for home construction and $30,000 for home purchase. In Category 2, it has been revised to target households earning above $30,000 and to $60,000. Under this category, the home purchase grant has been increased from $5,000 to $15,000, with the home construction grant remaining at $20,000. For households earning above $60,000, they will no longer be eligible for assistance, ensuring that government resources are more effectively targeted towards those with the greatest housing needs. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, a total of 10 million is provided for the formalization of 9 informal settlements in Torre, Filifo, Walewangu Wiaya, Sakoda, Unika, Mbare, Dalasaweni, Lobu Seaside, and Dombati. Around 1.3 million has also been allocated for the relocation and resettlement on informal settlement, and 500,000 is allocated to Habitat for Humanity. These projects, Mr. Speaker, sir, will assist the Ministry of Housing to deliver civil works for the relocation and resettlement of 1,200 households from Veindongo, Nambua Muslim League, and Kilkali to Cornivia and Mokosoi Greenfields. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Protection has provided total funding of 211 million. This will cater for welfare support to over 180,000 Fijians, including our vulnerable children, elderly, disabled, and the rural pregnant mothers. The coalition government, in the 2023-2024 budget, had provided a 15% increase across the board for all social welfare recipients, including a 25% increase for recipients aged over 70 years. This was followed by a further 5% increase in the 2026 budget. And in this budget, all these increases are maintained despite the fiscal pressures on government. Apart from this, in response to the fuel crisis, government had also provided an additional temporary increase of 50% from May to July this year to help the vulnerable households with the fuel crisis. This will end in July. Mr. Speaker, sir, investing in agriculture is critical to drive economic diversification, support our rural economy and livelihoods, and grow our exports and ensure food security. The Ministry for Agriculture, Waterways and Sugar Industries provided a total funding of 221 million in this budget. Early this year, the Ministry of Sugar was merged with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure a holistic approach towards the development of the agricultural sector. The sugar industry has been on a decline, and given the economics of the industry and to protect the interests of the farmers and taxpayers, government will focus on industry diversification in the medium term. However, in the interim, the sugar industry will continue to support with funding support of around 96.3 million. Amidst the declining world sugar market prices, government will continue with a guaranteed price of $85 per ton for the 2026 season, with a forecast price of $57 per ton. 41.6 million is allocated in this budget to cater for around $28 per ton top-up payment. Additional support for the sector will continue with a budget of 30 million for the fertilizer and the weedicide subsidy, cotton subsidy, upgrade of cane access road, cane planting grant, farm mechanization, farm incentive program, and support for new farmers. Government has also been funding the repayment of the US $32.7 million taken by the Fiji Sugar Corporation in 2025 from Exim Bank of India. Government has allocated around 18 million in the new budget to cater for the prepayment. For the non-sugar agriculture, Mr. Speaker, sir, funding of 102 million is provided. This will cater for crop and livestock research and extension services, farm mechanization, upgrade of farms, support towards increasing primary production of export commodities like yangona, dalo, ginger, spices, cocoa, and dairy. Mr. Speaker, sir, the coalition government introduced the fertilizer and weedicide subsidy for dalo, ginger, cassava, and vegetable. A sum of 3 million is provided in this budget, which will cater for additional crops such as yangona and turmeric. Mr. Speaker, sir, to incentivize landowners to continue making land available for agricultural purpose, government will continue to fund the committee for better utilization of land, which is called CBUL, with a total allocation of 6.9 million. A total of 2.5 million has been provided to the Agriculture Marketing Authority to increase market access for enriched and smallholder farmers, while support for institutions such as the Novuso Agriculture Technical Institute and the Tutu Training Center will continue with funding of 3.6 million in this budget. For the dredging of rivers and clearing of waterways, 16.2 million is provided in this budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, government remains committed to the sustainable development of Fiji's forestry sector and ensuring that resource owners continue to benefit from their forest resources. The Ministry of Forestry has provided funding of around 25.7 million in this budget. A total of 2.5 million has been allocated for the Commercial Maritime Pine Subsidy Program, and this funding will assist pine woodlot owners in Kadabu, Lomeviti, and Lau through transport subsidies, helping improve returns to landowners and support the continued growth of the maritime pine industry. Government has further allocated 3.7 million for the Fiji Pine Trust Extension Program. This program supports harvesting activities, reforestation, nursery management, and maritime operation. Of these, 2 million is provided for the construction of the Wanyambia jetty in Lakemba to improve transportation and logistics and support broader economic opportunities in the maritime region. The Maritime Pine Development Program is provided 1.5 million to support rehabilitation and development activities across Kandabu, Mode, Moala, Lebuka, and Lakemba. The program includes the construction of staff quarters and office facilities, renovation works, harvesting operations, timber processing, and capacity building initiatives. Mr. Speaker, sir, government will continue implementing the RED Plus program with an allocation of 500,000 to support sustainable forest management, to reduce emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, and position Fiji to access international climate financing opportunities. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, 196,000 has been allocated towards Fiji's mahogany development to support the sustainable management, assessment, and development of Fiji's mahogany resources, ensuring long-term benefits for resource owners and the continued growth of this high-value industry. We are also introducing a 5-year tax holiday for businesses investing at least $5 million in new mahogany processing facilities. This initiative will support value-adding, downstream processing, and employment opportunities within Fiji's forestry sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Fisheries has been allocated a total budget of $28.4 million this year to support aquaculture development, seaweed farming, pearl oyster development, offshore fisheries management, construction of ice machines in Vanuatu and Levuka, construction of fishery stations in Zawaro, Koro, and Matakunea, and preparatory works for Natovi Fishery Station. A new allocation of $5 million has been provided for the Tuna Development Fund. This initiative will support Fiji's tuna industry during periods of high operating costs and market uncertainty, helping to maintain fishing operations, protect employment, as well as sustain our export earnings. Mr. Speaker, sir, development must reach every corner of Fiji. And this government remains committed to ensuring that where a person lives does not determine their opportunities in life. The Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development has been allocated $35.4 million to continue improving the quality of life for Fijians living outside the urban centers. Increased funding of $3 million is provided for construction and upgrade of community access roads, footpaths, and footbridges to help connect communities to school, health facilities, and essential services. For the Rural and Outer Island Program, which supports integrated development initiatives across agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and creating opportunities for income generation and improve livelihoods, a funding of $2.9 million has been provided. To improve living standards, government continues to support the rural housing assistance, helping families build, complete, and improve their homes, for which $2.9 million has been allocated. $1.3 million is allocated to support the continuation of the grant to self-help projects, which aims to empower local communities by helping them to take the lead in identifying and implementing projects that address their specific development needs. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is allocating $6.3 million to support groundwater assessments, borehole drilling, water reticulation, and hydrometer surveys to improve long-term water security. In the current financial year alone, the program successfully completed 13 surveys, 21 groundwater investigations, drilled 31 new boreholes, and completed 5 water reticulation projects. These investments will provide more communities with access to safe drinking water, strengthen resilience to drought and climate change, and improve the quality of life for thousands of our people. And to strengthen disaster preparedness through continued investment in the construction and retrofitting of evacuation centers, a funding of $2.2 million is provided. The Ministry of Local Government has been allocated $29.5 million in this budget, Mr. Speaker, sir. To improve service delivery, the Ministry will continue to streamline development approval process and reduce delay for building, subdivision, and rezoning applications. In addition, the Ministry will undertake a comprehensive review of key local government and town planning laws to ensure they remain relevant, support investments, and meet the needs of a modern and growing Fiji. A sum of $3 million has been provided for the Western Division dam site remediation program. This investment will support the rehabilitation of unmanaged dam site, reducing environmental and public health risks while improving waste management and creating opportunities for future sustainable land use. Government also remains committed to expanding and strengthening urban development. An allocation of 300 million has been provided to support the declaration of Nabu as a town. In addition, 3.8 million has been allocated for new town development initiatives, including the Nambowalu New Town Project, Nambowalu Passenger Terminal Project, and the KS New Town Project. These initiatives are aimed at creating new economic centers, attracting investment, creating jobs, and bring development opportunities closer to our rural communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, a key initiative in the coming financial year is the launch of Fiji's first sorted source program in Singatoka. Under this pilot, households will separate recyclable and household waste at source, reducing some amount of waste sent to landfill and supporting a cleaner environment for future generations. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget continues to invest in our indigenous people, landowners, traditional institutions, and village development projects. The Ministry of Itauke Affairs has been allocated funding of 33.1 million in this budget. Through the Itauke Resource Owner Support and Development Fund, government will continue assisting landowners to unlock the economic potential for their land through residential and commercial development opportunities. This program supports landowners to move beyond simple leasing land and become active participants in economic development. A funding of 3.8 million has been allocated to support this. A funding of 7.2 million is provided to the 14 provincial councils, while 3.2 million is provided as an operating grant to the Itauke Affairs Board. Government remains committed to supporting our community leaders who serve as a vital link between government and the people. A sum of 4.2 million has been provided for the monthly allowance of 1,197 Turangani Koro, 262 maternity kinas, and 1,189 Turangani Abusas. Funding has also been provided for the continuation of the Village Improvement Scheme, supporting village infrastructure, beautification, and community development projects throughout Fiji with a budget of 1.3 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, support also continues for the Center for Appropriate Technology and Development, or CATD, which plays a critical role in skills development, technical training, and creating opportunities for our young people. CATD Nandawe is provided with 2 million to increase the capacity of its current campus and supporting capital expenditures for the new campus in the Western Division. In addition, 1 million has been provided for land access road to native leases. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fiji Police is critical to maintain law and order and safety for our Fijians. A total budget of 226.5 million is provided to the Fiji Police Force. The first phase of the recruitment of 588 additional officers was completed in this financial year, taking the force size to over 5,000. This added strength should now provide additional capacity to maintain law and order. Government will provide funding for an additional 588 officers, as committed earlier. For now, the force will focus on filling in around 400 vacant positions to increase its manpower. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Republic of Fiji military forces remains central to safeguarding Fiji's sovereignty security and national interest while contributing actively to regional and global peacekeeping and security efforts. In the next financial year, FNPF is allocated a sum of 152.6 million. A key focus of the funding to the military is to enhance Fiji's ability to combat transnational crime, particularly through its role in the Joint Counter-Narcotics Task Force. Increased funding as well, Mr. Speaker, is provided for maritime surveillance and border protection, including interagency coordination. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fiji Correctional Services provided a funding of 64.7 million. Funding increase is to cater for the implementation of the final phase of the job evaluation exercise, which was undertaken in 2024-2025 financial year and aligned with the pay by rank pay structure. Mr. Speaker, sir, funding of around 2.2 million is also provided to cater for phase 3 of the Nasino Public Cemetery upgrade. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Immigration has been allocated 14.8 million, including 5 million for the procurement of 100,000 passport books and $225,000 to combat human trafficking and ensuring compliance with national and international best practices and standards. An advanced passenger information system is currently being developed to improve screening and help identify high-risk travelers before arrival. There are also ongoing upgrades with Airports Fiji Limited, including additional surveillance cameras and improved monitoring system at key airport facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Policy and Communications is provided a funding of around 34.2 million the next year's budget. Government is committed to strengthening the fight against illicit drugs, and accordingly 1.6 million has been allocated to support narcotics operations and the continued establishment of the Counter-Narcotics Bureau. The Ministry also has a responsibility for advancing Fiji's digital transformation agenda. A total of 4 million is provided to continue with the rollout of the Business Now building permits and approval subsystem, which will fully digitalize the construction permit approval process, making it faster, more transparent, and easier for businesses and investors to obtain approval. Government will continue supporting nationwide digital connectivity through a grant of 6.8 million to Alessi. This funding will support upgrades to the Walesi app, transmission infrastructure, solar power system, and other operational improvements to enhance digital access and broadcasting services across Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, a sum of 14.9 million has been allocated to the Ministry of Employment, Productivity and Workplace Relations. To support training and skills development, government is calibrating the NPTC levy allocations. Currently, 50% of the levy is allocated for the medical GP program, 40% to ACCF, and 10% for training. Effective from 1 January 2027, 50% of the levy will be redirected towards training and skills development. 10% will be allocated for public sector training through the Fiji Learning Institute for Public Service, FLIPS, and 40% will continue to support the workers' compensation from the ACCF and the Ministry of Employment. Government has also introduced a 200% tax deduction for eligible training and upskilling expenditures for employers. These changes reflect the urgent need to invest more heavily in workforce development and upskilling. Mr. Speaker, sir, the private GP scheme, which was introduced as a temporary response during the COVID-19 period, will now be funded from the remaining balance in the GP Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, sir, there has been considerable discussion about increasing the minimum wage further. However, any increase must be carefully aligned with productivity improvements and take into account the impact on businesses, particularly micro, small, and medium enterprises. We have allocated 100,000 in the budget to review the minimum wage next fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Office of the President is allocated 4.1 million in next year's budget. This funding will support the President's constitutional duties, official engagements, and diplomatic functions while ensuring the continued operation of the office. Around 1 million has been allocated for the continued construction of the Executive Office and Administration Block, including the construction of a new 6-room barrack and the restoration of the Administration Building. The Office of the Prime Minister remains the center of government's policy coordination, national leadership, and the delivery of key development initiatives throughout the country. The office is allocated 9.7 million in the next budget. A key component of this funding is an increase in development grant to 2.5 million, which supports community development, particularly in rural and development areas, in maritime areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is also taking an important step in advancing Fiji's international leadership through the establishment of the Oceans of Peace Institute in Suva. An initial allocation of 50,000 has been provided for the preparatory phase of the initiative, which will serve as a regional hub for policy dialogue, research, and partnerships to promote peace, stability, and sustainable development across the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Office of the Attorney General is allocated 9.8 million in the next financial year to continue delivering legal services across government and supporting key national reforms. Government remains committed to ensuring that Fiji's laws remains modern, relevant, and fit for purpose. Accordingly, the Fiji Law Reform Commission is allocated 750,000 to continue its program of legislative review, stakeholder consultations, and law reform initiatives. In addition, government is providing 1 million to support the work of the Constitutional Review Commission. This funding will facilitate national-wide stakeholder consultations across 104 communities, public awareness and civic education program, including media engagement and other activities to ensure that Fiji and the Fijians have the opportunity to meaningfully participate in the constitutional review process. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Commerce and Business Development has been allocated a total of 27.3 million to support business growth, entrepreneurship, MSMEs, cooperatives, and the private sector development. The Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation is allocated a budget of 17.5 billion in the next financial year. Tourism Fiji has been allocated 41.7 million, including 33 million for marketing. As global travel conditions become more uncertain, Tourism Fiji is re-strategizing its marketing efforts to ensure Fiji remains competitive and delivers greater value from tourism. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been allocated 56.6 million to advance Fiji's foreign policy priorities and maintain our growing international presence through our 14 diplomatic missions and 4 trade commissions. In today's global environment, it is important that Fiji remains connected to our key partners and our key markets around the world. Our overseas missions play an important role in promoting trade, attracting investments, supporting tourism, creating employment opportunities, and looking after the interests of Fijians abroad. This budget provides continued support for Fiji's overseas mission, including the operationalization of our mission in Jerusalem and the reopening of Fiji's mission in Brussels. A total budget of 6.3 million has been allocated for both missions. These investments will strengthen Fiji's engagement with key partners and markets. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Finance has been allocated 70.4 million to strengthen public financial management and continue the government's digital transformation journey. The Fiji Revenue and Customs Services continue to strengthen Fiji's border management capabilities through strategic investments in modern infrastructure and technology. The FRCS has been allocated a budget of around 51 million. A key initiative for FRCS is the construction of a new purpose-built container examination facilities in Suva and Lautoka. This major investment by FRCS, with assistance from the Australian government, will significantly enhance cargo screening and inspection capabilities. It will also strengthen Fiji's ability to detect illicit goods, combat transnational crime, and protect our borders. Currently, FRCS relies on a combination of fiscal inspections and modern scanning equipment to undertake container examinations. The new facilities will provide dedicated examination areas, improve heavy vehicle traffic management, secure access controls, and provide modern evidence and storage facilities. Following the successful rollout of the new Financial Management Information System, or FMIS, the Ministry of Finance is focused on the automation of the national budget process. For many years, the budget process relied heavily on spreadsheets, Word documents, email, and extensive manual consolidation of information. While these processes served us well, they were time-consuming and required significant effort from both spending agencies and officers within the Ministry of Finance. This year, for the first time, ministries and departments prepared and submit their budget proposal through the new budget system. This represents a major step forward in modernizing the budget process and moving away from fragmented and largely manual methods of budget preparation. Mr. Speaker, sir, over many decades, taxpayers have invested millions and billions of dollars in roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, water systems, and other public infrastructure. But we do not have a complete picture of the value of those assets, of our assets. The Ministry of Finance will therefore undertake a comprehensive fixed asset review to establish the full value of public assets across Fiji. This will help us better manage, maintain, and protect these investments and provide a more accurate picture of our nation's wealth. After all, Fiji's balance sheet is not just about debt. It is about the assets as well that generations of Fijians have helped build. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fiji National Provident Fund plays a critical role in our economy and in supporting the welfare of over 440,000 members. And I'm pleased to report the Fiji National Provident Fund has delivered another strong performance in this financial year, with total investment income of over 1.2 billion, a result that reflects growth across every major asset class compared to the financial year ended 2025. On the strength of this performance and following independent actuarial clearance, together with prudent reserving to safeguard the fund against future market shocks, I'm pleased to announce that the FNPF board has declared an interest rate of 9.5% to members for 2026. So that shows the level of confidence and the investment confidence in our country. The 2026 result reaffirms that member savings are in safe and capable hands. The fund remains financially strong, well-governed, and well-positioned to deliver sustainable long-term returns, even as we navigate what is expected to be a more challenging global economic landscape in the years ahead. I commend the Chairman, Board of Directors, management and staff of FNPF for their stewardship, and I thank the members of the fund for their continued trust. And also I wish to encourage those who are not current members to try and become members of FNPF. Mr. Speaker, sir, to assist employers and preserve employment, government will reduce the Fiji National Provident Fund employer contribution rate from 10% to 8%. Employee contributions will remain unchanged at 8%. This measure, Mr. Speaker, sir, will provide immediate relief to employers facing rising fuel, transport, and operating costs, while helping businesses maintain their investment plans, retain jobs, and prepare for any potential increase in the minimum wage. It will also support businesses affected by the removal of the export income deduction incentive by providing a smoother transition period. This reduction in the employer contribution rate will take effect from 1 August 2026 and will remain in place for a period of 12 months. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to announce that as part of the financial sector reform plan for the next fiscal year, the Reserve Bank of Fiji will pick up again on the work it initiated a decade ago regarding the finalization and implementation of a legislation to provide for the regulation and supervision of pension funds and of persons concerned with the establishment, operation, administration, and intermediation of pension funds in Fiji, including the Fiji National Provident Fund. Mr. Speaker, sir, we must also start thinking beyond the next budget cycle and consider how we can build wealth for our future generation. Government will therefore undertake a study into the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund for Fiji. This work will be undertaken by the Ministry of Finance together with either the Fiji National Provident Fund or the Fiji Investment Corporation Limited. The objective is to explore whether the fund should establish a government-owned investment fund that can generate long-term returns, strengthen national savings, and support future development priorities. Many countries have successfully used sovereign wealth fund to create financial security for future generations. It is time that Fiji carefully examines whether such a model can work for us as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, government also owns a significant number of state-owned enterprises and statutory bodies. Many provide important services to our people and make valuable contributions to the economy. However, we must also be honest and recognize that some entities are performing below expectations. Some duplicate functions and some require reforms to be profitable and better service the people. Government will therefore undertake a comprehensive review of the state-owned enterprises and selected public bodies. This review will identify opportunities to improve efficiency, strengthen governance, improve profitability, eliminate duplication, and where appropriate consider restructuring, partnership, or divestment. Taxpayers deserve value for money and government's assets must work harder for the benefit of the people. Mr. Speaker, sir, a strong country requires a strong public service. Government is therefore continuing with a functional review of the Fiji civil service to ensure that our public sector remains responsive, efficient, and fit for purpose. This review is not about reducing services to the public. It is about improving the way government works, removing unnecessary bureaucracy, embracing digital solutions, and ensuring that resources are directed where they are needed most. The first phase is being piloted across the offices of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of the Civil Service, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics, and the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Management. These agencies will help establish the blueprint for leaner, faster, and more resilient civil service capable of meeting the expectations of a modern Fiji. A sum of 400,000 is provided for this initiative. Mr. Speaker, sir, economic development alone will not solve all our challenges. We are witnessing growing social concerns across our communities, including drug abuse, rising HIV infections, erosion of moral values, and the breakdown of family and community support system. Government will therefore undertake a review of religious and moral enhancement initiatives to identify practical ways of strengthening values, community leadership, family support, and preventative programs as well. This review will focus on how government, faith-based organizations, schools, and communities can work together to build a safer, healthier, and more caring society. At the end of the day, we want to see changes in our people. That is to produce new being, or bulibo, or new people. Mr. Speaker, sir, government remains committed to ensuring that key independent institutions are adequately resourced to deliver the legal mandates and maintain public confidence in our justice and accountability system. The judiciary is provided 51 million, while the parliament is allocated 18 million. Legal Aid Commission has been allocated 8.5 million, with 8.6 million provided to the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption. Mr. Speaker, sir, overall, there is no major increase in the tax rates. The tax and revenue measures contained in this budget are designed to provide targeted relief where it is needed most. Also to encourage investment, to strengthen productivity, to support emerging industries, and improve consumer welfare while preserving the integrity of the tax system. Government will continue a number of targeted measures introduced to cushion the impact of the fuel crisis. Duty concessions on diesel and heavy fuel oil currently provided to Energy Fiji Limited will be extended until October 2026. This support will assist EFL in managing fuel costs while maintaining reliable electricity supply across the country. Duty concessions currently provided to bus operators will also be extended until October 2026. This measure complements Fiji's government decision to fully subsidize the recent 22.5% increase in bus fares and will help maintain affordable public transportation for our people. Government will extend duty concession on diesel for hotels, resorts, and mining companies until October 2026. Recognizing the challenges faced by manufacturers that rely on diesel power generation, this concession will also be extended to eligible manufacturing companies that use diesel for electricity generation. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget also introduces a number of targeted incentives aimed at supporting investments and economic diversification. A new tax incentives will be introduced for companies with at least 30% ETOK shareholding investing in ecotourism, cultural tourism, and arts-related businesses. Qualifying investments between 5 and 10 million will receive a 7-year tax holiday, while investments exceeding 10 million will receive a 13-year tax holiday. Government will also introduce a 13-year tax holiday for businesses investing at least 20 million in the establishment of new cement manufacturing facility. This measure is intended to strengthen domestic production capacity and support Fiji's growing infrastructure program. In addition, a 5-year tax holiday will be introduced for businesses investing at least 5 million in new mahogany processing facilities. This incentive will support value addition, downstream processing, and employment opportunities within Fiji's forestry sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, recognizing the importance of financial innovation and access to finance, government will introduce a new package of incentives to support peer-to-peer lending and equity crowdfunding platforms. Qualifying providers will receive a 5-year tax holiday. Income earned from investments of up to $200,000 annually through licensed peer-to-peer lending platforms will be exempt from tax. Tax-free treatment will also be extended to qualifying institutional investors, and capital gains tax exemptions will be expanded to include eligible equity crowdfunding investments and innovation-based enterprises. These measures will help broaden access to finance, particularly for our small, micro, medium businesses and startup enterprises as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, government also recognizes the importance of strengthening strategic infrastructure and national resilience. The existing accelerated depreciation provision for investment in fuel and gas storage facilities will be expanded to encourage the construction of additional fuel and gas storage tanks. This measure will strengthen Fiji's energy security and improve our resilience to future fuel supply disruptions. Government will also extend the existing subdivision of land incentives until July 2030 to encourage housing development and increase the supply of residential lot. Mr. Speaker, sir, government remains committed to promoting healthy lifestyles, sports development, and community well-being. The existing 200% tax deduction available for sponsorship of the Fijian Rua will be extended to the Mbula FC. The minimum sponsorship threshold will be reduced from 250,000 to 100,000, making the incentive more accessible to a wider range of businesses. Government will also introduce 150% tax deduction of investment in new sporting facilities, gyms, and sports development infrastructure. Recognizing growing interest in animal welfare services, government will introduce a new incentive package for the establishment of veterinary centers, animal sanctuaries, and animal welfare facilities. Donations to qualifying animal welfare organizations will attract a 200% tax deduction. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is also taking measures to improve consumer welfare and reduce the cost of selected goods. Import duty on flavored milk will be reduced from 32% to 15%. Import duty on plant-based food to 5%. Import duty on surveillance cameras as well will be reduced from 5% to 0%. Import duty on aluminium structures such as doors and windows will be reduced from 32% to 15%. Import duty on PVC boards will also be reduced from 32% to 15%. These measures will improve affordability, strengthen competition, and support our customers. The Price and Monitoring and Enforcement Task Force, Mr. Speaker, sir, will develop a stronger framework to ensure that benefits arising from tariff reduction and protection measures are passed through to consumers. Government will also undertake a detailed study into shrinkflation and other emerging consumer issues affecting everyday products and services. Mr. Speaker, sir, traffic congestion continues to impose significant cost on productivity, fuel consumption, and the quality of life of our people. To manage congestion, government will increase import excise on new motor vehicles by 5% and on used motor vehicles by 10%. VAT on personally imported electric vehicles will be reinstated at 12.5%. Mr. Speaker, sir, import import duty on passenger vehicles with seating capacity of 10 persons or more will be aligned at 5% to encourage greater use of public and shared transportation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the threshold for the importation of the antique, vintage, classic, and luxury vehicles will also be reduced from 500,000 to 250,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, government remains committed to maintaining Fiji's reputation as a transparent, credible, and internationally compliant financial center. Following Fiji's successful removal from the European Union blacklist, government will continue implementing international tax transparent measures, including the automatic exchange of information framework, country-by-country reporting requirements, and the beneficial ownership framework. These measures will strengthen confidence in Fiji's financial system and support continued international engagement. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, government will make a number of technical amendments to tax legislation to improve administration, to strengthen compliance, and enhance efficiency within the revenue system. Mr. Speaker, sir, over the past 3.5 years, Fiji has faced successive external shocks that have increased the cost of living for households and the cost of doing businesses. Prices rose sharply during the global recovery from COVID-19. This was further affected by the Russian-Ukraine conflict, the global tariff war, and we are now facing the fuel crisis arising from the tensions in the Middle East. Throughout this period, governments has acted decisively to protect our household, protect our workers, protect our farmers, and also protect our businesses. We introduced a broad range of cost of living measures in our previous 3 budgets, and despite the significant fiscal pressures we now face, we will continue these measures and introduce additional targets of support in this budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the significant fiscal pressures facing government, we have made some important decisions in this budget. First, there will be no reduction in civil service salaries, as we recognize the important roles played by teachers, nurses, doctors, police officers, military personnel, and public servants in delivering essential service to our people. Around 42,000 public servants directly support more than 200,000 livelihoods across Fiji. While government has implemented expenditure restraint measures across the public sector, we have deliberately chosen not to reduce the salaries of our civil servants. In fact, we have strengthened the civil service through improved remuneration, permanent employment, tenure, and increase in the retirement age to 60. Over the last 3 years, civil servants have received salary increases ranging from 10 to 23%, representing an additional annual investment of around 115 million after salaries had remained largely stagnant since 2017. Second, Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget contains no increase in income tax for workers and no increase in corporate taxes for businesses. At a time when families are facing higher living costs and businesses are experiencing rising operational expenditures, government has chosen not to impose additional burdens on our taxpayers. Third, Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the most significant measures undertaken by the government to reduce the cost of living was the reduction of the VAT from 15 to 12.5% in August 2025. This decision delivered approximately 250 million in tax relief to households and businesses. And this is in addition to the continuation of zero-rated VAT on 22 essential items, providing a further 250 million in relief. Together, Mr. Speaker, sir, these measures provide approximately 500 million in VAT relief to our people every year. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the difficult fiscal situation, government will maintain the VAT rate at 12.5% and continue the zero rating of essentials, including flour, rice, sugar, canned fish, cooking oil, potatoes, onion, garlic, baby milk, powdered milk, liquid milk, dal, tea, salt, soap, washing powder, toilet paper, sanitary pads, toothpaste, kerosene, cooking gas, and prescribed medicines. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the challenging fiscal environment, government will continue the $200 back to school assistance program. This assistance will be paid in January 2027 before the commencement of the school year with an allocation of 40 million. Through this signature initiative, government has supported more than 210,000 students and their families, providing almost 210 million in assistance during a term in government. We will also continue to support approximately 180,000 Fijians through social welfare, pension, and aftercare programs with an allocation of over 200 million in this budget. In 2023, social welfare, pension, and aftercare payments were increased by 15% across the board, including a 25% increase for recipients aged over 70 years. This was followed by a further 5% increase in 2025 and an additional temporary increase of 50% from May to July this year to help vulnerable households cope with the fuel crisis. The additional 50% top-up to assist during fuel crisis cost around 24 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, in light of the fuel crisis, government acted early and decisively to address the fuel crisis. We chose to be proactive rather than reactive. We did not wait for the full effects of the crisis to be felt before taking action. And one of the most immediate impacts of high fuel prices has been on public transportation. Last month, the Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission, FCCC, approved a 22.5% increase in bus fares to reflect rising operational costs faced by bus operators. Government carefully assessed the impact this would have on households and decided to fully absorb the entire increase. Government will continue this support in the next financial year with an allocation of 20 million. As a result, approximately 350,000 Fijians who rely on bus transport every day, including students using blue and yellow cards and adults using red cards, will not pay a single cent more despite the fare increase. Government has also provided additional transport vouchers for rural service license operators and boat operators transporting students, recognizing the important role these services play in connecting rural and maritime communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, the fuel crisis has also significantly increased electricity generation cost. Following a review of fuel prices, a fuel surcharge of 5.91 cents per kilowatt hour became necessary to ensure the continued financial sustainability of electricity generation and supply. The surcharge will be reviewed monthly by the FCCC. Government carefully assessed the impact on households and small businesses and decided to fully absorb the entire surcharge for all subsidized electricity users with an annual household income below 30,000 at a total cost of around 13.5 million. Government will also continue with the provision of free water for households with an income of $30,000 and below. Mr. Speaker, sir, government also continues the broad range of social support programs, including free education, free bus fares for students, free water, free medicines, subsidized dialysis, first-term buyer grants, free legal services, and full tertiary scholarships that no longer require repayment. In fact, we took the bold decision to write off more than 650 million in tertiary student debt for over 50,000 students. Mr. Speaker, sir, to support our workers, we increased the minimum wage to $5 per hour and restored the 10 Wages Council to ensure fair wage determination. We are going to review this in this budget, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, for FNPF pensioners who had been fighting since the unilateral reduction of their pensions in 2012, we restored their pension moving forward at a cost of around $4 million per year. We also delivered a record high cane price of $105 per ton to our sugarcane farmers, $20 above the guaranteed price of $85 per ton. We are continuing the guaranteed cane price of $85 per ton with an allocation of $41 million in this budget. We have also provided high prices for other agricultural produce, giving farmers better returns for their hard work while supporting rural incomes and communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, government has also recently provided a $5 million fuel subsidy to reduce harvesting and cut this cost for sugarcane farmers during the 2026 crushing season. Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of taxation policies, some domestic manufacturers and producers have reduced heavy tariff protections for decades. Tariff protections should be temporary, targeted, and transparent. We have been seriously reviewing these arrangements, Mr. Speaker, sir, and when necessary, have broken these protections for the benefit of the consumers. Mr. Speaker, sir, as part of the earlier budget, tariff protection on chicken portions and offals, including giblets and liver, which previously attracted protection of up to 42%, was reduced to 15%. Fiscal duty on frozen fish, including salmon, was reduced from 15% to 0%, similar to canned fish products. Fruits and vegetables such as tomato, cabbage, lettuce, cucumber, eggplant, pumpkin, banana, avocados, mandarins, watermelon, and pawpaw will continue to attract 5% duty, while other fruits and vegetables not produced locally, including apples, carrot, grapes, oranges, pears, celery, capsicum, mushroom, kiwi fruit, cauliflower, broccoli, and nuts, will continue to attract zero duty. Mr. Speaker, sir, everyday items such as potatoes, garlic, onions, tea, and cooking oil will continue to attract zero duty. Duty on lamb products, which was reduced to 0%, will continue, while the reduced duty of 15% for beef, ducks, corn mutton, corned beef, and canned mackerel, down from 32%, will also continue. We will maintain the reduced 5% duty on dairy products such as liquid milk, powdered milk, yogurt, cheese, and butter. These products previously received 32% protection under the former government through a 10-year inclusive tariff arrangement granted to a single company. Today, anyone can import this product at a duty rate of only 5%. Mr. Speaker, sir, while government is providing more than $500 million in tax and duty relief to assist ordinary Fijians, we also expect businesses to support these efforts and pass these benefits to consumers. The Joint Enforcement Task Force, comprising the FCCC, the Consumer Council of Fiji, FRCS, and the Ministry of Finance, will intensify market monitoring and price surveillance to ensure that tax and duty reductions are appropriately reflected in retail price. Where evidence of unreasonable pricing behavior is identified, government will not hesitate to introduce price controls on additional essential items or remove tariff protection and apply the full penalties available under the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, government has also actively worked with the Biosecurity Authority of Fiji to dismantle long-standing trade barriers, and open import pathways for key food products. For example, ghee, a staple item in many Fijian households, could not be imported from India until last year. These restrictions contributed to higher food prices. Government has worked with trusted international counterparts to expand import sources while maintaining appropriate food safety standards. The goal is to introduce greater competition into supply chain, reduce reliance on a small number of suppliers, and enable businesses and consumers to benefit from greater affordability and choice. Mr. Speaker, sir, these reforms are a critical part of a broader strategy to lower prices across the economy by addressing not only taxes and duties, but also the structural constraints that limit supply and driver costs. Mr. Speaker, sir, these measures demonstrate the approach adopted by the government in responding to the cost of living challenges facing our people. This budget does not attempt to shield every individual and every business for every consequence of a global crisis. No government has the resource to do so. Instead, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have adopted a targeted and responsible approach, redirecting assistance to those most affected while safeguarding fiscal sustainability and protecting future generations from excessive debt. Altogether, the coalition government's cost of living package now exceeds $1 billion in direct support through tax and duty concessions, social welfare assistance, transport subsidies, electricity support, civil service salary increases, and targeted household relief. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we present this fourth budget of the coalition government, we do so with a deep sense of responsibility, humility, and confidence in the direction our nation is taking. When this government was formed, there were many who doubted whether a coalition of diverse parties would provide stable leadership. There were concerns that the government would not last its full term and that political instability would once again undermine the national progress. Today, those projections have been proven wrong. Over the last 3.5 years, the government has demonstrated that stability can be built through partnership, consultation, and a shared commitment to serving the people of Fiji. We have worked together in the national interest, placing the value of our people above political differences and proving that democratic governance can deliver meaningful outcomes. Mr. Speaker, sir, our first task was to restore democracy, freedom, and trust in our institutions. We reopened democratic space, restored media freedom, strengthened parliament, empowered independent institutions, and returned the voices of ordinary Fijians to the center of national decision-making. We have reaffirmed the principle of transparency, accountability, and participation that are essential for a vibrant democracy. At the same time, we inherited significant economic challenges and a nation still recovering from devastating effects of the pandemic. Despite these challenges and despite an increasingly uncertain global environment marked by geopolitical tensions, supply chain disruptions, and inflationary pressures, we remain focused on restoring economic stability and building resilience. Through careful fiscal management, responsible economic reforms, and careful prioritization, we have strengthened our economic foundations, restored investor confidence, and put the fiscal position on a path of stability. We have carefully balanced the need for fiscal discipline with targeted measures to ease the cost of living pressures faced by our people. We have increased wages, strengthened social protection program, maintained support for essential household items, assisted students and families, and ensured that the most vulnerable members of our society were not left behind. At the same time, we have created an environment where businesses can invest, expand and create jobs, recognizing the strong private sector remains the engine of sustainable economic growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have also begun rebuilding the nation. Across the country, major infrastructure and capital projects will commence to address years of underinvestment and neglect. This investment will strengthen public services, improve connectivity, support economic activity, enhance the quality of life for future generations. Importantly, we have also commenced the process of reviewing our Constitution to ensure that it reflects the aspirations of all Fijians. This is a significant national undertaking, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is about ensuring that every Fijian has a voice in shaping the future governance arrangement of our country and strengthening the democratic foundations upon which our nation stands. As we enter the final year of the government's term, we do so with a record of achievement, a clear development pathway through a national development plan, and a stronger foundation for future growth and prosperity. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget is therefore not simply a statement of revenues and expenditures, as you mentioned. It is a continuation of a journey that began with restoring trust, rebuilding institutions, and stabilizing the economy. It is a budget that prepares Fiji for the future, while remaining responsive to the needs of today. We are now approaching another important milestone of a democratic journey, Mr. Speaker, sir. The people of Fiji will soon have the opportunity to assess our record, judge our performance, determine the future direction of our nation through the ballot box. We welcome the opportunity with confidence and respect for the democratic process. For the conduct of the coming elections, the Fijian Elections Office has been allocated a sum of 23.2 million to cater for the preparation of the upcoming general election. In addition, a separate budget of 18.2 million has been set aside under Head 50 to cater for the main election day expenses. The Electoral Commission is provided funding of around 556,000, while for the conduct of the national referendum, a funding of 20 million has been set aside as well. We will also conduct the 2027 census with a total funding of 12 million in this budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, we present this budget knowing that much work remains to be done, but also knowing that Fiji is stronger, more resilient, and better positioned than it was 3.5 years ago. Together, we have laid the foundation. Together, we have restored hope and confidence. And together, we can continue building a prosperous, inclusive, and united Fiji for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I conclude, I would like to thank everybody that has helped shape the budget for their ideas, their input, hard work, and dedication. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his leadership, vision, and guidance. I thank my fellow cabinet ministers for their contribution and support to my dedicated team and the Ministry of Finance, and also all the staff of the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services. I sincerely thank you all for your contributions in putting this budget together. I thank you for your tireless effort, sacrifice, and display of patriotism. I would like to also thank all the development partners, civil society, private organizations, and multilateral financial institutions for their support. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, so I wish to thank God for all of our lives and for this new financial year's budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the full support of our cabinet colleagues, I commend the 2026-2027 2027 budget to this Honorable House.
I thank the Honorable Immanuel, the Minister for Finance, for his address. Secretary General.
A bill for an act to appropriate a sum of $4,237,073,252 for the ordinary services of government for the year ending 31 July 2027, Bill number 13 of 2026.
In accordance with Standing Order 84, Clause 1, the 2026 to 2027 Appropriation Bill 2026 has been read for the first time. And in accordance with Standing Order 99, Clause 3, the Appropriation Bill is now listed on the order paper for second reading on Monday, 13th of July, 2026. So thank you, honorable members. We will now proceed to the next item, item 5 on the order paper. The Secretary General.
The Honourable Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development to move consequential bills under Standing Order 51.
And I'll call upon the Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Esrom Immanuel, to move his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Pursuant to Standing Order 51, I move that the following consequential bills for 2026-2027 national budget be considered by Parliament without delay. 1. The Tax Administration Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 2. Income Tax Budget Amendment Bill number 2, 2026. Value-Added Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 4. Customs Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 5. Customs Tariff Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 6. Excise Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 7. Fiji Revenue and Customs Services Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 8. Tourism Services Tax Bill 2026. 9. Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 10. Reserve Bank of Fiji Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 11. Exchange Control Budget Amendment Bill 2026. Number 12. Super Yacht Charter Budget Amendment Bill 2026. And number 13. Treasury Scholarships and Loans Budget Amendment Bill 2026. And Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order 51, I move that the consequential bills must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, must not be referred to a standing committee or other committees of Parliament, and must be debated and voted upon by Parliament immediately after the vote on the 2026-2027 Appropriation Bill 2026, and at the time for the debate be limited to ensure that these consequential bills tabled today are debated and voted upon the sitting of Parliament beginning on Monday, 13th July 2026.
Is there a second?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable Vainivalu, I will now call upon the Honourable Minister of Finance to speak on his motion.
Honourable Mr. Speaker, sir, I have no other comments to make.
Thank you, honourable members. The floor is, I open the floor now for debate on the motion. And at the end of the debate, I will allow the mover of the motion for his right of reply. There any, I don't see any intervention from the floor. So I'll call on the Minister of Finance, Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Immanuel, to speak if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I have no other comments to make.
Thank you. The Parliament will now vote. The question is pursuant to Standing Order 51 that the following consequential bills for the 2026-2027 national budget be considered by Parliament without delay. First, 1, Tax Administration Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 2, Income Tax Budget Amendment Bill number 2, 2026. 3, Value Added Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 3, Customs Budget Amendment Bill of 2026. 5, Customs Tariff Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 6, Excise Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 7, Fiji Revenue and Customs Service Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 8, Tourism Services Tax Bill 2026. 9, Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 10, Reserve Bank of Fiji Budget Amendment Bill 2026. 11, Exchange Control Budget Amendment Bill of 2026. 12, Super Yacht Charter Budget Amendment Bill 2026. And 13, Tertiary Scholarships and Loans Budget Amendment Bill 2026. Pursuant to Standing Order 51, that the consequential bills must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, must not be referred to a standing committee or other committees of Parliament, must be debated and voted upon by Parliament immediately after the vote on the 2026 to 2027 Appropriation Bill 2026, and that the time for the debate be limited to ensure that these consequential bills tabled today are debated and voted upon at the sitting of Parliament beginning Monday, 13th of July, 2026. Does any member oppose the motion? No. As no member opposes the motion is agreed to unanimously. The next item, the Secretary General.
Adjournment.
I now call on the Government Whip, the Honourable Alithi Immanuel, to move the adjournment motion.
Honourable Speaker, I move that Parliament adjourns until Monday, 13th July, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
Is there a seconder?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Thank you. The Parliament will now vote, and the question is that Parliament adjourns until Monday, 13th of July, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Does any member oppose? No. See none. Since no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. Honourable members, that brings us to the end of our sitting today. I trust that all the honourable members will utilise the next 2 weeks to prepare well for the upcoming budget debate. I express my sincere gratitude to the Minister for Finance, Commerce and Business Development, the Honourable Esrom Immanuel, for delivering the National Budget Address. I also extend my gratitude to all the honourable members for their patience, and to our distinguished guests also in the gallery, and those who are watching these proceedings live. Finally, I warmly invite our guests in the gallery to join the honourable members for refreshments in the big committee room immediately upon adjournment. Thank you. Parliament's now adjourned until Monday, 13th of July at 9:30 a.m.